Hi, I'm Anna of All Trades, and today we're going to talk about how my friend Ryna and I forged this awesome bronze sugar spoon. Before we get started, I would love to give a huge shout out and thank you to Skillshare for supporting this channel. So last week I did tell you that I was going to show you the next iteration of the curving plane this week, but due to an extremely hectic travel schedule this week, I needed to do a one-day build, so enter the bronze spoon. So the basic steps that are involved in making a spoon are cutting the material to the proper size, isolating what will become the spoon head, then forging out or drawing out this material here. And so one of the things you want to be careful as you're doing is you want to have even thickness and a visually appealing taper. I would really like to take a moment here to give a huge thank you to Skillshare for supporting my channel and supporting my ability to create this kind of educational content. Skillshare is a fantastic platform to learn basically anything. You know, I call myself Anna of All Trades. My hands are in different cookie pots all the time, learning different things. And Skillshare has been such a fantastic resource for me to be able to look up all kinds of skill sets that I didn't have. Video editing, photography tips, cooking, all kinds of stuff is available to use on the Skillshare platform. So if you click the link below, you can get 2 months of free access to Skillshare's classes. And I would highly encourage you to do so because it is, like I said, a fantastic platform. And if you keep your eyes peeled, I will actually be hosting some classes of my own there very soon. We're doing a lot of work on the side and then a lot of work here. And then once we move on to the head, after we've isolated that and drawn out this material, then you're basically just repeatedly hitting the hammer in the same place so that this material starts to spread out and spread and spread and spread until it's basically the shape you want it. But one really interesting thing about bronze is that you have to be very, very careful as you're forging it, because if you heat it up too much, it'll actually snap. And so funnily enough, my first spoon that we did actually did snap right here. I wasn't paying attention while I was holding it in the fire, and sure enough, the head literally just snapped right off. Bronze is very interesting because you can work it at very different temperatures than you can work steel. So for example, when a piece of steel would be too cold and then be in danger of shattering, you can actually still work this. Another interesting thing is that as it gets cold, the more you hammer it, it becomes work hardened and therefore becomes harder to work. And so then you just have to heat it up and then quench it again, and you can start working it again. Then when it's flat, you can use a myriad of different options to create the initial dishing of the spoon. We just went right over the hardy hole on the anvil and used that. A whole lot more actually goes into making this than you might think. In fact, one of the really interesting things for me was that we smoothed out the entire interior of the spoon with a planishing hammer over a spoon stake instead of grinding or sanding or anything else. So this shiny surface is literally from the hammer and from basically taking a whole bunch of time to do that. about this is just the texture that comes from the planishing hammer and how incredibly smooth this gets on the inside with that. So I did leave the last step of this process for today's video, which is going to involve a really fun science experiment. So let's get into that. You'll notice that this actually looks like copper right now. And that's because, I mean, another crazy scientific thing that happens is when you're heating up the bronze, it takes on this cool, interesting patina. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into ferrochloric acid and turn it back to its shiny gold color that it should be. And of course, when you're using ferrochloric acid, you want to be very careful to use gloves and have a well-ventilated room and have Windex or some other thing close by so that you can stop the acidic process if need be. Yeah, whoa, that's crazy. So we'll just do some dipping and you can see it's already turning gold. Also, my ferrochloric acid is really disgusting because actually the lid melted into it. So it's got all kinds of fun stuff going on down in the bottom. Crazily, the ferrochloric acid is literally just taking all the black off. So this is getting real shiny, and then all we're gonna need to do is polish it up and it'll be ready to go. Wow, so cool. There's like something that looks like a tiny little crack right here. That's called a cold stop. And this is literally, I almost broke the head of the spoon off a second time by heating it too much, and I caught it at the exact right second. So, I mean, there potentially would be like a slightly fragile spot in the spoon there, but it's not, I mean, it's not fragile at all. But I mean, that is really fascinating. And I mean, obviously I would never sell something that had a cold stop in it. But for me, it's just, whoa, interesting. That's cool. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, for supporting my channel. If you would like to support me on Patreon, as always, the link for that is below. If you would like to purchase a Fluffy Animals with Tools calendar, those are available for a few more weeks on my website. And I hope you leave this video feeling challenged and inspired to get outside and to make things with your own hands as well. Cheers.